Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Pathfinder 2E, and I'm going to kind of dive into the nitty-gritty of the Pathfinder 2E playtest. So basically, and the reason why I'm going to do that is I went on at length about how I thought it was two things. One, a TRPG industry party foul, and an historical event that Paizo released a full edition masquerading as a playtest. I really still absolutely believe that's what Pathfinder 2E playtest is. It's a full edition masquerading as a playtest. But I've gone on at length of that. So I want to dig into the nitty gritty of what is the system. It's out. We have the book. Let's talk about it. All right. All right. So so there are some things I do like. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of things, and I'll just say if I like or don't like them. One thing I love about the game is the ABCs of character creation. Literally becoming the ABCs of character creation. Ancestry, background, class. That's brilliant. Like, it just fits really well. What about the feats, right? Well, the feats are actually subsets of ancestry, background, and class. All feats fit within, you're going to get all your feats from your ancestry, your background, or your class, right? So feats are things you get from your ancestry, your background, or your class. Now feats, I love that. I really, really like that as well. Let's talk about feats for a minute. So you have three different types of feats. You have skill, you have class, you have ancestry. All those are direct. So you have ancestry feat, you have a class feat, you have a skill feat. And then there are no background feats. What you do is your backgrounds give you unlock either ancestry or background, either ancestry or skill or class feats, which is pretty elegant. I also just want to talk it's really pretty amazing that backgrounds have really become, the idea of making backgrounds mechanical is no longer, it's part, well, one, you can see a lot of modern design in Pathfinder 2E. So that's one of the things that's being updated. It's just a nod to modern design. And there's very clear modern design elements within this. And the idea that background gives you mechanical benefits is very modern design. It's a very common modern design element. And I think I love it. I think it's great. I think it's really, really good. All right, I want to talk about the races. Here's the races that went into Pathfinder 2E. Dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, human. All right, what do I think of that list? Well, I think it's bog standard. Goblin is a little inventive, right? But you're really missing three specific types of other options, right? So what exactly are you missing? Well, you're missing the tiefling, you're missing the dragonborn, and you're missing the warforged, right? Well, people are like, well, those are all D&D. One, Pathfinder is very, very carefully trying to be a Dungeons and Dragons alternative, right? So what do you get? What do you get for that, right? And actually, hold on, I'll give you more light here. Yeah, so basically, what do you actually get? Get for what could you do with Tiefling, Dragonborn, and Warforged? Well, with Tiefling, that's a half demon. You can give it any name you want, right? A Dragonborn is a half dragon, right? And then a Warforged is a construct. And the idea of having a construct race is pretty important. There's a lot of stories that can be told with that, especially today. Like, I feel like one of the things that's really becoming a major issue in our society, and that's what these stories are doing, is they're helping us to tell stories about our own society and our own politics and our own culture, right? Is there a delineation between a human, between an animal, and between a thing? What are the values of these things? Now, I think there's a very clear delineation. There's an absolute hierarchy. Human, animal, thing. They have value in that order, right? And so not to have the construct in there and not to be able to explore that, because increasingly there are people who don't believe what I just said. Like, there are many, many pets in America that are treated way better and get way more than humans in other places, or even in America, right? So, like, and more things are being valued higher than humans. Like, so not having the construct in there, I thought that was really a really key missing part, right? And of course they would have skinned it. They would, but I really think also, the Dragonborn is just brilliant. It should have been in there. I think they really should have went down that road. And of course, given its own name, made them different in a different, distinct in a different way, that kind of thing. And I've always found Tieflings compelling, and there's just so many more D&D races. The other one is, if you're going to do Tiefling, I would do ASMR as well, half angel, half demon. I think those are great ideas to have in there. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't have went down there and put them in as well. Okay, just my 2 cents there on the races. And then also one thing I wanted to say is Pathfinder 2e is lining up with a lot of other fantasy games and saying, we are reinforcing the Tolkien base, right? And I love the Tolkien base. I have no beef at all with fantasy TRPGs keeping the Tolkien base. It's classic. I like it. I think it's a good way to go. Okay, and then, but I think it's important to acknowledge it, right? That you're doing that. So let's talk about what you get from the. Oh, of course, they went with the same 6 attributes, as Dungeons and Dragons: Strength, Dex, Con, Wisdom, Charisma, and Intelligence. Right? So pure. Right? I do want to talk for a minute. I am absolutely stunned that Paizo kept the Wizards of the Coast 2000 OGL. That they kept the game based on that. One thing that does concern me, and I don't know if they're doing this because they really don't want to change the game very much. There's so little change within this game from Pathfinder 1e. I really do feel sorry for people who bought in heavily on Pathfinder 1e. So my purchase on Pathfinder 1e is I bought the core book. I bought the NPC Codex. It's one of my favorite books of all time, as far as source books. I bought the equipment guide. I bought one of the advanced magic books, and I bought the campaign guide, which is absolutely fantastic. It was really, really good. And I think that's about it, right? Well, once 5e came out, I sold everything, but I kept all my pawn sets, and I did sell everything but the core rule book and the NPC Codex. NPC Codex, just like, I'll never get rid of that book. It's the best thing that ever came out of Pathfinder, in my opinion. The Codex books are really fantastic. Okay, so I'm really stunned that they didn't do the work to free themselves from the WotC OGL to 2000 OGL. One, that thing it's the 2000 OGL. Like, it's 18 years old. Like, I don't understand why Pathfinder would stay and retain that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think they should have done some extra work and freed themselves from the WotC OGL. And I think they're going to have problems in the future because they did that. Okay. Let's talk about the different ones. So Ancestry. You gain ground. So Ancestry, you basically... so let's talk about the fact that they're using the word Ancestry. Ancestry has replaced a very distinct word, which is being replaced across the board in virtually every single modern tabletop role-playing game. And Paizo gains ground over WotC. Paizo, is with Pathfinder 2e, is now officially ahead of WotC on having a modern game. The word that Ancestry replaced has become so repugnant within the industry that I actually think that is going to be one of the things that's going to press WotC to move towards 6e sooner, right? So Paizo having the word Ancestry allows them to move forward and past WotC on this one small piece of ground, right? What do you get for your Ancestry? One, it determines your speed, it determines your hit points, and you get a small feature, right? And basically, you get Ancestry feats, right? But all those Ancestry feats, you just get them for free, right? Now, I actually think this is great. I think this is a good addition to the game. I think they handled it in a good way. And it does allow you to have things you can grow into way beyond. From a story perspective, it's very problematic. Like, why wouldn't your dwarf know, about stonework? Why wouldn't all dwarves know that? It doesn't make sense. From a story perspective, mechanically, it allows one dwarf to be different than another. But I think from a story perspective, it's very problematic. Okay, so then let's talk about, background. So basically your background actually gives you direct attribute bonuses. That's huge. That is a really big deal for for backgrounds to be dealing with attribute bonuses. That's pretty crazy. And then, your skill feat, it also gives you a skill feat, one of these skill feats. They come from the general feat selection. And then so let's talk about the classes. So first I want to talk about the classes that are in there. So your martial classes are fighter, barbarian, and paladin. Okay. Let's talk about just that selection. I think that's a perfectly good selection. I don't have any problems with any of those. You also then have wizard, sorcerer, bard, and cleric. I don't see a need for a sorcerer anymore. I don't think it is unique enough to warrant the pages that are there. So I don't think they should have put sorcerer into the game. All right. I would have removed it. I'm glad bard is there. Bard is a classic. I'm very glad Cleric is there, and I'm actually a little surprised to see that Cleric is there, because the reality is I thought for a long time that games were going to start to remove Clerics. They have already, for both Paladin and Cleric, these are both classes that are classic lawful good, or classic good, and they've already removed that restriction. I'm like, what's the difference between an evil Paladin and a fighter? There's none, right? So... so I'm very glad they kept Cleric. I think that was really nice. All right, let's talk about Ranger, Alchemist, Monk, and Rogue. One, I think there was a missed opportunity. I would have renamed Rogue Thief, right? And the reason why is you don't have to go down every road that D&D has gone down, and you can kind of just poke at WotC with that. That would have really poked WotC, because D&D can't do that. They can't have the cojones to do that. They just can't, right? They can't rename Rogue Thief. But Pathfinder could, and I think their player base would really have appreciated that personally, right? So that's just my take on that. And then I do want to talk about Monk. Monk should have been absolutely removed. Monk makes no sense, right? So if you're going with a bog standard listing of Tolkien races, right? And I know goblins in there, but it's not enough to break away from Tolkien in any. It's still a greenskin, like basically an orc, a goblin, a troll. It is interesting that it's a core race, and I know that's that's really part of Pathfinder's game history. Like that's really key to their game, right? So I get that, right? But I would have taken out Monk, and the reason why is Monk does not make any sense I don't think it even belongs in D&D, right? And the reality why is this dude running around with martial arts? It makes no sense whatsoever. And, and it's just kind of shoved into this classic Tolkien base, and it doesn't make any sense, right? So they had the opportunity to remove it. It would have made the game cleaner. It would have taken a few more pages out, right? And the other thing is, it's getting very clear. Games settings like Al-Qadim and Oriel Adventures, D&D will never, ever go down those roads again. You will never see another Al-Qadim. You will never see another Oriel Adventures, in my opinion, right? So Monk seems to be in the same zone, right? So you had the opportunity to remove it. You're taking the opportunity to fix, to do a replacement word and bring in ancestry, replacing the other word. So why wouldn't you have gone down this road and kind of taken out this piece of history that doesn't belong, right? So I think Monk should have been removed, right? Or it should have been reworked in a way that having an unarmed fighter in the middle of all this other Tolkien-based material, both race and class, would make some sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. All right, some hero points. Love hero points. This is fantastic. It's really good. You can do different things with it, right? So you can have up to 3 of them, and you can automatically take care of a death save. You can re-roll dice, or you can take an additional action. I absolutely love the hero points. I think they're really, really solid. All right, one of my absolutely favorite changes in the game is your perception status. Your character has a perception status now. This was brilliant. And this is another place where Pathfinder 2e gains ground on Dungeons and Dragons. And, you know, I think the Dungeons and Dragons designers are going to be kicking themselves when they see this. You have three perception statuses, right? For you being perceived, right? You are either unseen, you are sensed, or you're seen. This is brilliant, elegant, love it. Really, really solid. And then the 3-action economy, killer, right? It's better. It's absolutely better than it works better than the Dungeons and Dragons action economy. Which is much more complicated and not nearly as elegant. The fact that you can, if you're standing next to a character, you can attack 3 times, and your first swing is going to be at a -0, your second swing is going to be at a -5, and your third swing is going to be at a -10. That's huge, right? The fact that then this also leads into these follow-up attacks, right? So the game has better mechanics for follow-up attacks. One of the things I think is interesting in the game is traits, right? So conditions, and just a whole slew of traits, right, are listed. Bolstered, hindered, just a long list of these type of traits. Traits are single words that contain rules. Love it. Complete modern design element being brought right over to Pathfinder, which I think it desperately needed. Pathfinder came out in 2008. It's 10 years old. Pathfinder 1e lasted 10 years, a solid decade. Bravo, bravo. All right, you want to know something else that I really like about this game? This is going to be my last comment on it. I love that Pathfinder 2e is printed in Canada. Okay, basically, it's within our borders. It's on the American continent. Let's put it that way. And I think that's great. We're not using. It's better in a whole lot of ways, right? It keeps the work closer to here on our shores. And in addition to that, I love the idea that that choice was made. I think that's a really wise choice, and that matters to me, right? That matters. That makes me more likely to want to buy Pathfinder 3e, and that's what it's going to be when they get all the feedback back, right? It's going to be Pathfinder 3e. They won't call it that, but you and me both know that's what it's going to be, because Pathfinder 2e is a pure, full-bred edition masquerading as a playtest. That's my thoughts on Pathfinder 2e. It is free, and I will say, it's just really nice having a darn near 400-page full-color, game that costs nothing, from the PDF, which is just crazy. I really feel bad for all the other small presses out there, because the bar has just been set so ridiculously high. It's really, really high now. All right, thank you. Take care, and please consider liking and subscribing.